Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today, I wanted to do some fast and loose tonalist painting in acrylic. So in front of me I have one of these smooth gesso boards from Hobby Lobby. This is 8 by 10 and it's the ultra smooth. It is, how thick is this? I don't know if it says, but it's thick. It has a width to it. And some depth to the panel, which I think just helps with support. But in my case, it takes up a lot of room. So I'm going to paint on a few of these to kind of experiment and then put them into frames since I have that art show coming up soon. Anyway, I put out some green and red ochre. I put a dap of this slowing drying medium into each one and mix that up. I also put some acrylic thinner, or flow medium, I guess, which mixed with acrylic paint for thin consistency and glossy finish. So those are the mediums that I'm going to use. I honestly really don't know too much about the acrylic mediums, but I am just going to go to town and have fun. And let me know what you think. I'm going to create a fast and loose imaginary scene. It's going to be in the tonalist style. It's going to draw from Stuart Davies and Dennis Sheehan, some modern oil painting and tonalist masters. Usually I refer to them within the watercolor videos, where I will take watercolor, wet and wet, really thin things down, and white back and forth. I'm going to do the same thing here, but with acrylics. Now, I'll probably spout out, hopefully, not too many myths about acrylics, but I genuinely don't know much about them. The dry time is obviously an issue, and that's why I picked up that one mix-in from, they had it at Michael's actually. You could find it online, but once I saw it at Michael's, I picked it up in person. And I'm just going to kind of tone this panel. Anywho, so I tried working on paper. That was my first acrylic. I did not like it. I had difficulty wiping back. And then from there, I tried on some linen, which was stretched over some panel. It was universally primed. That worked out better. I really enjoyed that. Just kind of pushing it around, thinning it down, and then afterwards taking a gloss medium and passing it over it and glossing over the whole thing. And then after a few days, spraying it down with varnish. Very shiny, very almost look kind of oily to me. So I think there is a way to get an oil look to it. That being said, I'm not sure about how the polymer layers hold up and how they interact with one another and how much you could thin one down. There was an article on Golden's website where they talked about their acrylics and tests with mixing it with water. Apparently a traditional idea or advice is to not mix more than 1-to-1 water to acrylic, but they apparently did tests of 10 to or 1 to 10, acrylic to water, and then I think 1 to 100, and they really didn't see any issues. They did specify that some pigments, like a clay-based pigment like umber, it may experience issues before others do. So that was interesting. But it seemed like in general there wasn't too much issues about it. But then I have heard things about issues where things are breaking down over time. So anyway, I don't know much in that regard. I have found that the thinner or water, like if I put it here, I can use it to kind of wipe back and erase. And I'm not sure if it's because of where we're currently at in the drying stage or other scenarios. So also not sure if water would do the same thing, if we can kind of go in and scrub it. So we could be breaking down the polymer layers right there, but how much is that really affecting the overall process if we're going to come back in and create another layer on top of it? I have seen charts where they talk about how an acrylic might be touch dry within a certain amount of time very quickly, but then after that, even though it's touch dry, you have some other chemical reactions happening during the following week. So I'm not sure about a lot of things with it. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of wiping on and wiping off, just kind of playing back and forth, looking for different textures and ideas. That being said, let's get to actually putting some more in. Need to come up with a composition. Let's look for a tall tree. I'm just getting textures in. This is a synthetic hog brush. I think I had gotten it from Jerry's Artorama. It is Mimic Hog Creative Mark. I think it's a buy it, try it type deal where it's buy one, get one free, or buy one, it's like $1 or $2. They have a few things listed like that on their website, and a few different brushes. So I have a few different brushes from that deal. Okay, so this was going to be kind of mid-ground. Let's build up some in the background. Now, a few things. With the watercolor, I'll go wet and wet and I'll lift back and forth. And I've gotten to a point where I can kind of comfortably stay within a stage with the wet stage and push things around and get what I want with it. With oils, you can do the same thing, especially if you're on like the smooth gesso board or the linen canvas. It's harder with the cotton because cotton, I think, is loosely woven and has just the indentions the pigments sit in a lot easier. But you can wipe back and forth, and the drying time allows you to really play around and explore. The acrylics, I really haven't gotten the hand of the whole wiping back and forth just yet. And this is my first time on a smooth gessoed surface. I think at the very beginning I might have showed the price that I got it for. It might have been $6.99, and then it might have been 40% off. But I had bought it a while back, and I think these have been on sale or on a clearance price. I'm not sure if Hobby Lobby is changing how brands are getting rid of some stock, but it might be something you want to play around with. They got rid of the ampersand gesso boards. In fact, they had them on sale. It was just when I saw the sale, I was like, I'm buying these up when I was there in person. But they've been putting a lot of their stuff on sale, so I don't know what's going on or what they're switching around. But anyway, I would suggest experimenting with a smooth ground if you are doing oil or acrylic, just so you can see what it's like. You can see the wiping back and forth that I'm talking about. You can also see it with the ampersand boards, so I mentioned them. Hobby Lobby doesn't have them in person anymore. I don't know if they have them on their page, probably not. Michaels might list them, but the ampersand boards are a little bit expensive. But then again, I don't really buy canvas, so I don't know what I can compare it to. Now I'm at a point where it's starting to dry and I'm having trouble moving around. Here's the glass dip pen, which I'm going to get some lines and marks in while I talk. Okay. So the ampersand boards, I think Jerry's Artorama has one deal that's decent, but only on one size. I think it might be the 8x10, and it's a buy two get one for about $13, which is a good price, I believe. But when I was looking on Jerry's, I came across a Da Vinci brand board. Da Vinci is, I think, the Royal Talons company, which they've been popping up like just all over the place. Royal Talons. They do the Rembrandt oils, the Amsterdam acrylic inks. I looked them up. So they've been popping up all over. That being said, they were cheaper, so I ordered them, and they were actually, I'm dipping a cotton tip into the flow medium and seeing what happens here. Anyway, the board from Royal Talons is double-sided. One side I think is smooth, one side not so much. I ordered them. I haven't tried them yet because I've been prepping for that art show that I mentioned, and I really want to make the most of them and really have fun with them. They are thicker. They're 1/4 of an inch, while the ampersand is 1/8 of an inch, and this guy must be 5/8. The reason I mention this is for a few different reasons. For me, I've mentioned that I rent a small house, and 2-bedroom. One of the rooms is the art room, and it is filled with art supplies, finish art, etc. Especially now that I'm framing stuff for that art show. So anything that has a thickness to it, it takes up real estate, it takes up volume within this room. So it's something that has to be taken into consideration for me. If you are somebody that paints infrequently, or if you're going to be working on something for a while, then the thickness of something probably won't have that much of an effect on what you're working with. I'm looking for another tube of paint. I got some Payne's Gray. Has this been opened? Yes. I'm going to put a little bit of that in there. Okay, now I know I'm rambling quite a bit about other alternatives and the sizes and different reasons, but one of the things is that if you are going to be plein air painting and you have a wet panel holder, the 1/4 might cause an issue and might not fit in your wet panel holder. I want to say that wet panel holders usually hold 1/8. My wet panel holders, me and my buddy Bill made, and we made them around the ampersand boards and around the Centurion linen boards, which are 1/8. That reminds me, I need to give Bill a call. I haven't talked to him in a while. I spent the first month of my summer break buckled down working on this math course to be certified to teach college level math to the high school kids. Even though I have an actual math degree, I needed that certification in order for me to be able to teach that down the line. Trying to get the texture of this brush, but the randomness of it. You can see how I kind of brought the land masses in from the side. Just wanted that kind of grass that will kind of overflow and play around. So Payne's Gray. Traditionally, it was a mixture of 3 colors to give a gray. Nowadays, all tubes of Payne's Gray seem to be a mixture of a black and a blue, depending on whatever company you are ordering from, whatever their proprietary blend is. You can mix Payne's Gray yourself just by taking a black and a blue. Watched a fantastic video a long time ago from the American Watercolor Society of a gentleman giving a demonstration on painting a foggy water scene, and he had mixed his Payne's Gray with black and a cobalt blue. Which black? I don't recall. I mentioned Stuart Davies at the beginning of this video as the person who has inspired me towards this technique, and he uses Payne's Gray along with the sap green and the red ochre. Let's see. I'll just get little ideas back in here. I was fortunate to attend one of Stuart Davis. I think it's actually pronounced Davis, and this whole time I've been saying Davies. Anyway, he has Zoom meetings and shows demonstrations, and I was fortunate enough to attend a few of those. I actually attended one yesterday, and I would highly recommend it if you're looking at oil painting in this style. Usually he'll post online saying, this is what I intend to paint, and here's a sign up below. And of course, if you like any of these videos, you are always welcome to follow along with anything that I paint. And you have my exclusive permission to sign your own name and to sell anything you do whenever you follow along. Somebody had asked that on a watercolor page recently. It's all about morals, ethics, and ideas. For me, I'm saying that you're welcome to sell anything you do whenever you follow along, just because knowing the price of art supplies, I know it's expensive, and I want you guys to be successful and have fun. At the end of the day, I just want you guys to have fun. And sometimes you might paint something and you might post a picture and be like, look what I painted. And so you're like, oh, that's beautiful. I'd like that. And, it really, helps out. It lets you start getting your artwork out there to people, or at least to friends and family. So that's why I'm saying that. Now, I do have the Patreon down below, and I do have the Etsy. And if you would like to support this channel, liking and subscribing helps out a lot. Commenting helps out, sharing, and signing up for the Etsy, and supporting financially. All those ways help out, so I would really appreciate that. And thank you to everybody that does support through the Patreon. It really helps this channel grow. Let's see. I think we're getting at the point where it's gonna be quite dry soon, and I really won't be able to push around too much anymore. But my goal is going to be to hit it with the blow dryer and then play with glazes on top of that. We'll put some white in the sky though. We'll put some white out. So while I do this, so I'm endlessly framing and getting works together for that art show. My goal is to kind of have just an overwhelming amount of art. on display, which I know sounds, some people might like and some people might not, but I enjoy the kind of Victorian-esque collage of paintings on the wall, and I kind of actually have the house currently decorated in that fashion with a whole bunch of paintings on the wall. And the reason I would like to do that for an art show is because since it's my first one by itself, I also want to have all the different mediums and techniques up there. The watercolor, gouache, pen and ink, acrylic. That's honestly one of the reasons I started the acrylic, was because of dry time, to prepare for the show, to have enough pieces up. To really kind of have an initial showcase of a lot of things. And then from there, down the line, I can play around and have, you know, a more reserved show. It's kind of an initial splash of things. I'm looking for a soft brush. Let's just use this. Here's another cheap buy it, try it from, I think it's a cheap one from Jerry's Artorama. A Hake. Just softening that sky a little bit. All right, so now it's at the point where it feels tacky, and like I said, I'm not in any way versed in acrylics, so I really genuinely don't know some of these longevity things, but then a part of it is I'm not too concerned based off of some of the things that I've seen and read, plus the fact that I plan on coating this with a gloss medium, which would be a big layer of acrylic, and then from there, when that's dry, varnishing. Not too concerned. I'm not sure where my smaller palette knife is. Bring this out. So anyway, so my goal is in a moment to do a dry off, and then to experiment with glazing on top of this. Any other kind of opaque marks I want to make? I was having trouble with this the other day with some oils, trying to put some thin lines down with a palette knife. This has been the knife I was using. I guess just this long edge one is helping. In college, we used the palette knife a lot to mix. And sometimes we'd use it to lay some swatches of color down. Nope, way too much. I think this is a good point for the pause and the dry off. All right, so I did the dry off. We are 30 minutes into this video, so I think it might be best to stop this one here and do the glazing as a second video. So I'll post those. They'll be either be up on YouTube or on the Patreon. So keep an eye out for that. And I hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below what you would like to see. And if you follow along, feel free to tag me in any social media. On that note, I will talk to you all soon. Have a great day. Bye.